Welcome to the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Josh Kimmel, Dave Campbell, and Justin Bauerle.
Welcome to Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. With me is Justin. No Dave. He may pop in. Who knows? If we say something stupid, he likes to pop in once in a while, surprise us. So look out for that. For all you audio listeners, there are none because we are live strictly on the YouTubes on Tuesday today at 3 o'clock because we decided to go late for the trade deadline to happen. We didn't want to come on at noon and then, not have any good news for you guys. So we have some trades that went down, some that will affect your fantasy teams, some that affected my fantasy teams personally, and I'm very upset. Happy Halloween, Justin. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Super excited for tonight.
You like the little banners and stuff?
I do. Happy
Halloween. You can barely see the bats and stuff, but it's fine.
But they're there, and I notice them. I think
really upset.
It's because of the blue background you have going on. Sometimes it turns black, and then
you
can't see them.
Well, I'm mad. I actually made one that had a pumpkin instead of like a jack-o'-lantern where the Once Upon a Sunday logo was, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. We're all good. We're here to talk about some priority waivers, some injury news, some trades that just went down. And, it's halfway through the season. I know some of y'all are struggling. Maybe you're 3-5. Maybe you're 2 and whatever. Always don't quit. I know that doesn't make sense, but that's what I say to myself. Always don't quit. Always. So if you're new to the show, go ahead and follow us on YouTube, Fins Talk Sports Network. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that alert button just to make sure you know when we're live, when we're always here. And if you do like this audio version, if you just stumble across us and you're like, hey, I prefer podcasts, we're on iTunes. Just search OUS Fantasy or Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy, as well as the Fins Talk Sports Network. I believe we do have our own podcast network as well on the audio side, so make sure you do that. And we do have a Discord, it's in the description. Please join it. And of course, Twitter's were the best place to get to us ever since I've been doing this show, Justin. I don't know about you. My DMs have been blowing up with questions. So I know you're out there watching. Ask Justin for once. He just got over on a trade. This guy knows more about Dynasty than me, apparently. Allegedly. Who knows? But Justin, let's get right into...
My DMs are full of like Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. Like I get MCU talk in my DMs, not fantasy football. So
Marvel.
Yeah.
Plug that show, Justin. Plug it. Because I like that show.
Marvel Timeline Rewatch. We cover all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, one-shots, and TV series in chronological order. We're going to be releasing Loki Season 1 on Thursday. We're past Endgame now. So, there's another big trade going on right now.
Oh, wow. So as he's looking at that big trade, he's going to get really mad because the Colts aren't doing anything. Let's get into the injury news right off the bat because there's a ton of them.
Hold on. I know where the video is. Here it is.
Time for injury news.
It seemed like this was the week the quarterbacks died. All of the quarterbacks, unfortunately. So we have a lot to get through. The first one on my list is Baker Mayfield. Left knee expected to play, so not a big deal. Just monitor that situation. Look, he fixed the pumpkin right there.
I knew it was there somewhere, but I thought I had it on the welcome, but it's fine.
So we do have Baker Mayfield with that left knee. Not really a big deal, but just monitor it. You never know what's going to happen. If you're depending on Baker Mayfield, it's most likely a super flex league. This one is a big one. Matthew Stafford, right thumb. Was it UCL? UCL?
Yeah, it was something gross.
He's going on IR, I believe. He's no longer going to be the quarterback there. This is going to affect Puka and Kupp tremendously. It's unfortunate. It's going to affect that offense. I can't really tell you to go pick up their backup quarterback because honestly, if you're not in a super flex league, there's no point. You're kind of stuck with Puka and Kupp at this point as well. No one's going to trade for them right now.
I will say, thinking ahead, in this last draft, I picked up Stetson Bennett in a couple of drafts that I had like Matt Stafford in, or I was really weak at quarterback. I know he's on the NFI list right now, but the reasoning was, will Matt Stafford play 17 games? And my thought was no. And hey, I was right.
You were right.
I hate to be right about injuries, but like was right.
If I really wanted to draft a 32-year-old rookie quarterback, I would have. I mean, come on, man. Like, I draft for upside, especially in like the 4th, 5th round.
Yeah, of course.
And he just to me, he's a nobody. But hey, if he plays well or if he gets out there, good for him. Good for you too. Good for you. Kirk Cousins, Achilles, out for the season.
I don't even know where my graphic is for that. I have one, but apparently not on here.
I paused because of my stupidity. Myself. Last night I was at the hockey game, Lightning, of course. And I had a couple drinks, whatever the case may be. And I read on the good old X, the good old Twitter, that Josh Dobbs is going to be benched. So then I go to Sleeper and I go to my teams where I have Joshua Dobbs, and it says right there, Joshua Dobbs to be benched. So then I say, I'm good. He did well. 7 weeks. He got me so far. Some leagues I'm 3-4 with him. Some leagues I'm 8-0 with him. I dropped him.
That's tough.
And and the reason why I bring this up is because the whole Kirk Cousins situation. He just got traded to Minnesota, where he will be the starter going forward.
That's the thing. So they just talked about. Let's see. Yeah, the Vikings plan to start Jaren Hall at QB this week, per Kevin O'Connell. So obviously, I mean, Dobbs would have 4 days to learn that offense to be able to jump into the starting role on Sunday. So it's no surprise Jaren Hall starts. However, this is going to be interesting because what if Jaren Hall plays really well and then Josh Dobbs ends up sitting on the bench anyway? So
Josh Dobbs played really well, and I think they don't trade for a quarterback if they just they wouldn't trade for Josh Dobbs.
Bobby,
so
keep it out of the comments. I have this ready.
Oh, good for the Lions. Good for Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm glad. I'm
let's
happy
talk
for
about
him.
that.
We'll talk about it right now. Breaking news: the Lions did acquire Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's breaking news to me. I don't have Twitter up. I know nothing about it.
Well,
so
it's the trade deadline, so I have to keep these things up. So
that's your job. Yeah, you're the producer.
Stay relevant here.
I like this deal. I like it a lot because I thought he was a good player. I thought he was buried in a depth chart with Elijah Moore and Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper, and Njoku. And Deshaun Watson hasn't really been playing well, and the quarterback right now is not playing well either, PJ Walker. And he's a good player that can make some splash plays. He's better than Josh Reynolds. He's better than whoever else they have in Detroit. So right now, I think he's a good number 2 option next to Amon-Ra. He's not going to step in right away and be that guy. But this is someone that you might want to go pick up on your waiver wire. He's not on my list. Obviously, didn't know the news. But somebody that would have made our waiver wire list. And if we're going to talk about it, he's in the middle range. He's someone that,
you're looking up.
He's worth a look.
Yeah.
He's someone that could
worth
start.
A stash, honestly.
Yeah, he could start for your team in a couple weeks. He's not a must add. I'm not spending fab on him. I'll put in a $0 or $1 bid on him. I'm not going to go crazy. But he's someone that I would definitely look out for, especially on that offense with Detroit. So, Donovan Peoples-Jones. What did they get? What was it?
That is unconfirmed yet.
Unconfirmed. Conditional pick.
I will update you as I see updates.
Conditional pick. All right. Congratulations, Cleveland. You win another trade. That's what you do. Drake London growing. It hurts day to day. I've never hurt my growing. Have you hurt your growing?
Yeah, I tore mine about a year ago.
How long were you out?
I was out for about 5 weeks. It's about a 4 to 6 week injury for a normal human being, not an athlete. I tore mine playing soccer in the 2nd week, and I was back in the 6th or 7th week for the final game.
So Drake London, day to day, I'm going to say he's going to be out. I put day to day because there's no timetable. There's not one report with a timetable that I could find.
Yeah, that shit hurts though.
So probably out. Yeah, probably out 2 weeks. It's so funny. I didn't even add anyone on the waiver wire list for the Atlanta. To me, it's irrelevant. I don't think anyone on that team is going to be relevant.
Well, past Drake London, you got what? Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith.
Yeah. And then I think there's a third tight end they involved last week.
Yeah, I'm pissed about that. I'm telling you, man.
Jonnu Smith threw a pass to the third tight end that nobody knows who it is.
So
nobody. That's so stupid. But if you have Drake London, he was underwhelming anyway. He was starting to show flashes, to be honest with you, but nothing spectacular.
He'll be back right in time for the fantasy playoffs, but we'll see how relevant the Falcons are and how relevant he will be at that point.
Here's another guy that is going
This
to be
one
out for the
hurts.
season. Kendrick Bourne out for the season, torn
Oh, this one
ACL.
hurts.
He was clearly the number one option in New England. He was having a breakout, great season.
He had a solid 3 weeks there. I mean,
Yeah.
very solid 3 weeks.
He had a
So
really good week 1 too. So it's not like this guy was just like,
yeah,
oh, he's hot. Like listen, that offense is up and down there in New England, mostly down, but he was a bright spot in that offense. He was the only bright spot in that offense. Nobody else was playing well at all. Ramondre was even terrible, running back 55, as we all predicted. What is Ramondre?
he's RB 26 right now.
Damn, he's so close.
I had that one ready because I had to make that little meme that I sent you guys.
He's so close to that running back 55. It's not going to happen. He won't go down that far, but man, it's been bad. Kendrick Bourne, he did have a stretch weeks 2 through 5 where he didn't score above 8.6 points in PPR scoring. That does stink, but in that time, he went against New Orleans, Dallas, the Jets, and Miami.
But if you look at his projections, I mean, he was right there on the projections for those 4 weeks, so you can't fault him for too much. But I mean,
you got to look at who he went against, though, too. Like Miami, whatever. Eli Apple was on him most of the time, so it's not that big. Whatever. Like he had a flop game, but
the
against New
Jets,
York, Dallas, and New
Dallas,
Orleans,
New
who can
Orleans,
shut
those are
down
3 pretty solid cornerback rooms. So
Yep. And then he went ahead and played Las Vegas, Buffalo, and Miami again. Miami's where he tore his ACL. He already had 12.6 points.
dang, he was about to have 2 very solid weeks coming up against Washington and Indy. So
Yep, this one hurts.
sucks for him.
There is a guy on the waiver report that we're going to talk about that you might want to pick up and key because they also lost Devontae Parker for the game. He might not play this week. This one is kind of irrelevant because Daniel Jones is back, but Tyrod Taylor did hurt his ribs, rushed to the hospital apparently. Get well, Tyrod.
No reports of a punctured lung this time. So
yeah, there was no Chargers
doctors on the sidelines. So we're okay there.
Darren Waller in the same game, hamstring. I put out 1 to 3 weeks, but I assume it's going to be the season because it's Darren Waller. This is what he does.
Didn't I say this in the off season? I was like, this is Darren Waller's, like, if he's great, but he's probably somebody that's like boomer bust. I'm pretty sure I had him on the boomer bust show because of his injury history, and here it is. He's a bust.
I mean, when he played, he wasn't totally bad. He had a couple good games.
He had a 13-point game and a 22-point game. Oh, okay, and a 16-point game.
I believe I played against him every single time. Every single time I played against this guy, and he went off because it was really aggravating.
I have him on a team. I mean, he's on the bench. I mean, he's tight end 9 for the season because of those 3 games. But again, all tight ends have been very mediocre this year. So,
well, the impact is now you have Daniel Bellinger stepping up. I didn't put him on our list today, although I should have. But you were on him. I didn't put him on my list because that offense has been lackluster, regardless. So I don't.
Where do I have him?
Even if you have Daniel Bellinger, you can't really get too excited for it because you're excited for 3 targets. I mean, honestly, he's not Darren Waller. He doesn't have that kind of skill set, or he's not going to demand that kind of target share. But he will be someone you can plug in some spots. I expect, like I said, the worst in this injury, because that's what Darren Waller does. He gets hurt and he never comes back. You expect him to come back and he just can't recover. So unfortunate. I believe he's going to be out at least 3 weeks, probably more, with that hamstring injury. And the last one on my list, Curtis Samuel toe injury. I put day-to-day because I cannot find a timetable. We saw Jahan Dotson step up and actually play good football this week. We saw Terry McLaurin play good football, and Samuel was playing good football until the injury.
Yeah.
Well, because Howell went nuts, like we said. Like we told you guys. If you guys listen to us and you have Howell on your team, by the way, he's on our priority waiver report again because he's still 45.
I saw him on the report this week, and I'm like, he has literally been on the report for like 3 solid weeks. Why is no one listening?
Sometimes it be like that. Sometimes people don't want to pick up good fantasy players. Sometimes people go, I have this guy. I have Dak Prescott, who played well this week, but they're just afraid to move on from the named player, although Dak was playing very awful until this week.
So the Detroit Lions gave up a 6th-round pick in 2025 for Donovan Peoples-Jones. So next year's 6th-round pick.
All right. Well, Curtis Samuel, he was playing very well for that short period of time, weeks 5 and 6. Week 7 and 8, just 8 receptions in between them and under 50 yards in the past 2 weeks. But he did get hurt against Philadelphia, and he got hurt early, and he was on pace for a decent game. So just look out for that, monitor that situation. Honestly, I don't want to touch Curtis Samuel anymore with the toe injury. Those are hard to recover from.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's get right into the priority waivers. We got some good ones.
This week's priority waivers.
I wasn't missing it this week, man.
It's okay. We have a whole cornucopia of waivers this week. We have tight ends, we have quarterbacks, we have one running back, and a couple wide receivers. So let's get with the top guys. I'm going to start with who I think is the most important. We've been talking about Sam Howell for 4 straight weeks, so let's go to someone else. Trey McBride, tight end, Arizona, rostered in 21% of leagues. He's a must-add. He was, not that it means anything, but the one time I went to the Senior Bowl, he was absolutely my favorite player to watch during that entire weekend. That dude was a monster, a bulldozer right off the bat, and he's proven it into the NFL. He had a massive week this week. I put him in my DFS lineup. He crushed for everyone if you did play him. He was an instant start in DFS, to be honest with you, with Zach Ertz being out. My concern, what happens when Joshua Dobbs is gone, which he is, and now we have Clayton Tune or Kyler, who doesn't really target the tight end in this situation. I think he's still a must-add. I think he's special. I think he's a good talent. How much money are you spending in Fab?
I would probably spend maybe like $5 on him. It really depends on how much Fab you have, because I mean we're getting into the final weeks. Injuries are going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean we saw with Kirk Cousins goes down. That's your starting quarterback in most of your leagues. Do you really want to spend your money on Trey McBride, who could be a make or break player on your offense? I guess if you're really hurting for a tight end, but I'm not spending a lot. But I would throw a couple bucks on him.
See, me and you were talking from the perspective of we have Kelsey or Hawkinson or a top guy. I know you targeted those guys. I know I did. So to me, well, maybe you didn't as much as I did, but to me, it's like, I'm not really targeting them because I have a Kelsey and I have a Hawkinson.
Yeah.
But if
you don't have him, then go for it.
If you went ahead and got cute and like, I'm going to get Chig because Chig was a hot name in the offseason, or you went over after Logan Thomas. He had a good week, but how many good weeks is he going to have? This is someone I would prefer over those guys. The Chigs, Logan Thomas, even I can't think of a tight end. Cade Otton. I'd rather have Trey McBride. Where would you go in that situation?
Trey McBride,
yeah. He's just more explosive.
That offense is going to be more dynamic too. I mean, once Kyler comes back, I expect that offense to be completely different than what it was with Josh Dobbs, and he was playing. He played pretty well against Baltimore, even though 14 targets is a real thing to think about. 14 targets plus a touchdown. So,
man, I'm just so upset that Dobbs is gone though, because is that production going to leave? That's what I'm concerned about.
That's the concern is where do they go with Clayton Tune and or Kyler Murray? So,
what up, Cap? Yeah, you're losing by 5 points. This bye week sucks, bro. Yeah, look, bye weeks suck in general. I'll tell you that. Losing because your players don't show up on Monday night is probably the worst way to lose. Whether it be Devontae Adams last night or Jacoby Myers, that's the worst way to lose. You think Myers is good for 10, regardless, or Devontae Adams? You think he's good for 10? No, he combined for 4 points.
I needed less than 4 points from Jacoby Myers, who's consistently 15 plus points, and Daniel Carlson. Just that. They gave me 4.5.
I will say this. I was not at the game yesterday. I did not watch the game yesterday. I was at the hockey game. So I did not get to see any of that disaster of a game. I'm happy.
I didn't watch it. I literally was up and just kind of keeping up with ESPN on the app. I was like, all right, what's happening? I saw Jacoby Myers 19-yard pass. I was like, and I'm going to bed. Because that's all I needed. I needed 3 yards from Jacoby Myers to win.
Yes. All right, Cap. Well, you want some waivers? We got some waivers for you. If you missed it, our top guy is Trey McBride, tight end out of Arizona. If you're needing a tight end, I would definitely spend some cash on him this week. My next guy, we talk about him every week. We're not going to spend too much time on it.
Cap, I hope you got this guy.
Sam Howell, quarterback, Commander, still rostered in only 45% of leagues. I just don't understand it. A guy who's going to throw the heck out of the ball, a guy who's going to air it out no matter what. Yes, he may turn it over. Yes, he may make stupid plays. But guess what? That's what you want in your fantasy quarterback. When Jameis threw 30 for 30, he was an amazing fantasy quarterback. He was top of the list in fantasy. Now, now, go ahead.
I just have to believe that these leagues that have Howell, 55% of the leagues in Yahoo have to be one quarterback, like 5 bench. And they only won't pick up Howell because he plays for the Commanders. That's got to be it. I mean, he's literally quarterback 8. How is he not on a roster? How is he not starting? Like, he should be starting everywhere, not just on a roster, but he should be starting at this point.
Cap lost Cousins after I traded CJ Stroud. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, man, I feel you.
So Sam Howell, Cap isn't out there for you. He's available he's rostered in 45% of leagues. So you have a good chance. I doubt he is there because you probably play in some sharp leagues. Will Levis is out there. He's on this list too. We can get into him right now. Will Levis, I put him as worth a look. He plays for the Tennessee Titans. He's rostered in 5% of leagues. I don't know what to think about Will Levis. I don't know how
I think it's too early.
I think it's way too early. I do think that but here's the problem with Will Levis. And I'll be honest with you guys. He's on a short week traveling to Pittsburgh on a Thursday night. Thursday nights are notoriously known as low-scoring matchups. Again, a rookie quarterback on the road, short week. There's no way Will Levis hits my starting lineup in any kind of one quarterback league. There's no chance in hell. There's many other quarterbacks I would rather roll with than a rookie quarterback. Now, I may be wrong. I may be 1,000% wrong. But I'm not taking that chance on a Thursday night. There's got to be other guys. I would go Derek Carr with whoever he's playing over Will Levis against Pittsburgh. What are your thoughts on that?
4 touchdowns on, I didn't really watch them, but mostly broken plays. One was an offensive pass interference by DeAndre Hopkins, but that's neither here nor there. He had less than 100 yards off of the throws that were not for touchdowns. One game. We're talking about one game where you only have college tape on. This is a completely different offense that he's playing on. And the team won't commit that he's our starter moving forward. They're still saying if Tannehill's back, he's the starter. So I'm not blowing everything on Will Levis. But if he has a good game on Thursday, this might be a different story next week.
I said this on Twitter yesterday, which got some people calling me stupid. If you take away the 4 passing touchdowns, if you take away the 4 passing touchdowns from Will Levis, he went 15 for 25 with 81 yards.
That's a dumb take, Josh.
It's a dumb take, and it's not a take though. It's a fact. It's a fact. There was no opinion in that tweet. There was 0 opinions.
Correct.
Every time you saw Will Levis throw a touchdown pass, the guy was 15, 20 yards wide open, and all the guy had to do was walk into the end zone. There was one impressive throw. The rest were nice, though. Like, he doesn't throw like Tannehill. He has some oomph on the ball. He has some strength on the ball. He can get the ball downfield more than Tannehill can. That being said, it still stands. Is the trade deadline over 4 o'clock, I believe, right?
Yeah, we still got 38 minutes.
So if anything breaks,
I'm here, man.
Right here.
I got it right here.
But I quote tweeted that tweet with another tweet regarding another quarterback who threw 4 touchdowns. If you take away the 4 passing touchdowns from Sam Howell, he went 35 for 48 with 298 yards. I'm just saying. So people are coming at me like, hey, that's a bad take. You can't take away touchdowns. Well, I'm really not. And I'm also showing you how inefficient he is when there's not a broken play.
Yeah.
That's all. So maybe there was a take inside there. But he's worth a stash, especially worth a look. Whether super flex leagues, in one quarterbacks leagues, I'm not looking at Will Levis. I'm just not. Taysom Hill, tight end, Saints, 36% rostered. This guy is the most annoying player of all time in the history of the world.
Who are you telling?
I mean, look,
Bro.
when he first came out,
So
when
annoying.
when Taysom Hill was new and everyone was like, oh, this guy, and I'm like, I am a big Tim Tebow hater. And I'm thinking, wow, this could have been Tim Tebow if Tim Tebow wasn't such a selfish, arrogant prick. Honestly. So Taysom Hill is the All-American. I'll play any role, coach. Put me in, coach. I'm the whatever. But now he's stealing touchdowns away from Derek Carr. He's stealing touchdowns away from Alvin Kamara. Screw this guy. And he can play him at your tight end position. But the problem is you don't know when he's going to pop because sometimes he's just zero. He's just a zero. So I don't want to tell anyone to go pick him up. Justin, what are your thoughts on this guy? I can't stand him.
I just had a pretty extensive conversation about Taysom Hill in a league right before I got here, actually. Somebody needed a quarterback because of Kirk. Oh, that was me. Somebody needed a tight end, actually. They needed a tight end going into this week. And I was like, well, Taysom Hill could be your guy. I mean, he's getting he's getting 3 positions worth of points. You can slot him in at quarterback or tight end with all your quarterbacks going down. This might be somebody you might look at because he is getting tight end. He's getting receptions. If he's in a tight end premium league, this should be a pickup. In my opinion, this should be a pickup in tight end premium leagues because you're getting that extra point from the receptions. You're still getting points from his rushing ability, his touchdown, all of his touchdowns. I mean, you're getting 6 points for his touchdowns rather than just the normal 4. So it's kind of like a cheat code at the quarterback position. And you could slot him at quarterback if you don't have a quarterback for the week. I mean, this is I like Taysom Hill as a fantasy player. He's finally, the last 3 weeks, he's finally starting to do well because of him and Derek Carr actually getting some kind of chemistry going. I don't know if you've looked at both Derek Carr's and Taysom Hill's fantasy production over the last 4 weeks, but it's the best it's been so far this season. So I only see that going up at this point.
So my rebuttal to that is all year, he has never eclipsed over 40% of snap shares at all on the field. Last week against Jacksonville was 38.1. This week, they have it at 0, but I know it was more than that. I am too lazy to look up my sleeper app. But he only had 1 target last week. I do know that for a fact. And most of his production came from rushing and touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
He had just the same amount of rushing yards as Kamara. He didn't throw the balls as much as he did. The week before that against Jacksonville, he had 4 catches. The week before that against Houston, 7. The weeks 1 through 5, he had 4 catches. 1 through 5. So it seems like the coach is trying to figure out, oh, this is how we use them. This is what we do.
My rebuttal there also is that look at Derek Carr's weeks 1 through 5. That offense didn't know what the hell they were doing weeks 1 through 5. Weeks 6 through 8, however, they've been doing well against Houston, Jacksonville, and Indy. I think they're finally figuring out that offense. They're finally figuring out how to put the pieces together. Alvin Kamara is back. Olave is, I have no idea what's going on with Olave. Michael Thomas is kind of making some moves.
Saints,
Rashid Shaheed is doing well. He plays for the Saints. I feel like that offense is just getting better. I will be curious to see how Taysom Hill continues to do over the next several weeks. But if you're the big thing about Taysom Hill is if you're weak at tight end or quarterback, which usually is the 2 positions, I feel like, well, maybe it's running back and tight end, but you can slot him in 2 different spots is more of where I'm going there.
So last week where he did ball out against the Colts, he had 9 carries, 63 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did not come close. If you add up, week 2 he had 75 rushing yards. But if you add up weeks 1, you skip 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, doesn't add up. Like I get what you're saying. They're finally meshing. But I don't want to put my tight end position where, you know what, it's a chance anyway, right? Tight end's a chance. You're looking for a tight end who can score a touchdown or to get you 50 yards. Let's be honest. So maybe it's not the worst option for your tight end. Maybe it's not. But a guy who's not on the field all the time versus a Trey McBride who's on the field all the time, I think I'm favoring Trey McBride in that situation. I don't know how you feel about that. And I did. That's why I put him in the worth a look spot because I didn't know where you would slot him. And I was thinking, man, I would rather have.
I think he's appropriate right there. I think he's worth a look if you really need somebody. Like in one of the leagues I have, they're hurting at quarterback and tight end. So I was like, well,
I just can't see myself ever starting him at quarterback unless I was, I had Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford.
It happened. I think the team that has Travis Kelce and Scott Fishbowl also has Taysom Hill. and not a really good quarterback, so he puts him in at quarterback.
Ooh, I'm in the Scott
Over the last 3 weeks, he's done really well at quarterback. So
next guy on our list,
Next guy.
Rashid Shaheed over here in New Orleans, 36% rostered, just like Taysom Hill. This guy's a deep threat. 3 targets, 3 catches, 153 yards. Some will say it's ultra efficient. Some will say
it's broken
this guy's
plays.
a
Burn
trap.
defender.
I put him in the worth a look stash, and I'm gonna not lie to my audience. I am zero interest in this guy. Zero. I only put him out there because I know he's on a lot of people's list, and I know a lot of people are gonna ask about him. I know a lot of people are gonna be in my DMs. Should I get this guy? And I will tell you straight up to your face, no, you should not. You cannot count on 3 catches for 153 and a touchdown. You just can't. If you look at his other game logs, he's getting 8 targets, 6 targets. That's cool, but it could also go to 2, like in week 5, or 2, like in week 3. He can disappear. That's my point.
It's not going to be every week where you're going up against cornerback number 9 for a roster. That's the thing. I'm not making excuses for the Colts, but he was going up against cornerback 9 for the Colts this week.
And that's real. And people need to understand that. That is real. When he plays a bad cornerback that he can burn, like Sean Murphy-Bunting in Tennessee, he's average, but he can be burnt. That's who he is. And if you're really trying to guess when he's going to go deep and catch these deep balls, good luck. I'm not playing that game. He has no other game other than a 9 route. That's what he does. He doesn't do curls. He doesn't do slants. He doesn't do double move. He does nothing but just run straight. Mm-hmm. And if you want to gamble on that and you want to spend $0 and put them in there and risk either getting 0 or 24, that's on you. I'm just telling you right now, he's a hard avoid. Let somebody else get suckered into him. I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
Yeah. What is my wife doing?
She's hanging out. She's like, it's 3:30. What are you doing?
She's like sneaking like the Grinch around here so she doesn't make noise. I'm just sitting here laughing and calling her out. So it's fine.
We got 3 more guys. So let's get Holden back in.
Let's go.
Leonard Fournette, running back for the Buffalo Bills, 4% rostered. I just traded him in a dynasty for anything I can get.
You did. You got a 4th for him.
It's nothing, but it's more than what I would have got for him. So I think he's worth a stash. He's a wait and see.
How many Leonard Fournette shares did you have in Dynasty waiting for this moment?
I think 4.
I have him 3 leagues that I'm about to put him on the trade block for each one of them.
But nobody's dumb enough to buy him, honestly, because they know he's going to be a nothing. I think he's going to be a nothing, but he's also, if you have an empty spot, if you have someone that just went on IR, he's worth a stash because you never know how they're going to use him. Lat Murray was a nightmare a couple last week when they played. He was not efficient whatsoever. So they're trying to find that big bruiser back that can protect Josh Allen and can get into the pass game. James Cook is not their goal line back, and Lat Murray, turns out, he's not either. So we'll see what Fournette does. Don't expect anything from this running back room at all. Josh Allen's their running back, goal line running back. But if you get him for $0, why not? If you have an empty spot, do not go out and seek after Fournette. Do not do it. Josh or Justin, you reading something?
Nope, I'm just putting him on the trade block in a couple of leagues.
Do you have anything to add to Mr. Lenny Fournette?
The only thing that I've seen about Leonard is that he is projected like week 17 beyond for the Buffalo Bills. So this is a championship lineup here for them. So
imagine thinking that you're a championship team when you're the 3rd best team in your division. Anyway,
playoff run here. There is a trade in the NFL, but it's a defensive back, so doesn't mean anything.
Nobody IDP, get out of here. We don't play IDP. Cares. All right. The next guy on our list, Mario Douglas, New England Patriots, 3% rostered, worth a stash. We just talked about they lost Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker missed. He left the game. He might not play this week. Next man up is Demario Douglas. He's been getting the snaps. Snap share 61% against Buffalo the week before. Against Miami, that's not updated yet, but he had 7 targets against Miami. This is the guy you want to get in New England. I think he was a secret until now, because now everyone knows, Demario Douglas is the guy coming in. I I think I have him. I should have put him ahead. I would take him over Rashid Shaheed, 1,000%. What do you think about that?
He's going to get more targets. Shaheed is option number 3 or 4. He's the deep threat. That's it. That's all they got for him for. So, yeah, he's going to, with Parker and Bourne both hurt. Juju's never really an option. Tyquan Thornton isn't. He's still hurt. Like their entire wide receiver depth is decimated. Demario Douglas, it's so under the radar because he doesn't even show up on the depth chart on the sleeper app. So nobody knows about this guy unless you know about this guy, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's not really the most athletic guy coming out, but if opportunity trumps all.
He's little. Oh my!
He was
5'8", 192.
5'8", 5'8". Player profiler has him listed as 179. He was a 6th round pick. 6th round pick came out of Liberty. So this is a good, hey, if Puka can do it, why can't this guy do it? Right? Why can't this guy do it?
Maybe we're talking about him as a league winner later.
He did play 77% of the snaps last week against Miami. He does get Washington and Indianapolis, 2 amazing matchups. Then he has a bye. So that's why I put him in there. He does play Washington. He does play Indianapolis. And then a bye. But then it gets tough. The playoff matchup, he's not going to be a league winner. His playoff matchup is Kansas City, Denver, Buffalo, New York Jets. So he's not going to be a league winner. But he's good enough to get you by for the next couple of weeks against Washington and Indianapolis. He's someone I'm definitely targeting if I need a wide receiver for sure. And the last guy on our list, another AFC East wide receiver, Khalil Shakir, wide receiver, Buffalo. He's rostered at 1%. He was also in the same class as Trey McBride. Because guess what, guys? Guess what? He was my second favorite player in the Senior Bowl that year. I love this guy. Route running is crisp. Knows how to get open, create separation, can find that hole. It's just he had Gabe Davis, he had Stephon Diggs, he had Dawson Knox in his way. Now he's getting more time. We saw that Thursday night game, he had 95 yards, he had a lot of targets. This is a guy that I want to target. He will be free, most likely, because he played Thursday night, so people will forget about his production.
Mm-hmm.
We got a question in the chat. What's up, guys? Do I keep or trade Justin Jefferson? I'm at 4-4. My wide receivers are Kupp, Godwin, Lockett, Michael Thomas. I wish Dave was here for this one.
This one's tough because we don't know what the Vikings are going to do at this point. I think you're going to know more so this week, maybe even next week. Okay, so Jefferson has been out 3 weeks. He's got this week at least before he can come back from the bye. So you're at least one more week out. Maybe you're looking at 4-5. Maybe you're looking at 5-4. But does he come back? That's the real question. He's in a contract year, so I'm going to assume he's going to come back. And then once he does come back, he's got pretty favorable matchups if you can get into the playoffs, because you're looking at against Chicago, Las Vegas, and Green Bay towards the end of the season. I don't know if I'm going to give him up yet.
I wouldn't give him up. Here's why. You rode this long with him on IR. Yeah. You have Kupp, Godwin, Lockett, Michael Thomas. I would trade Kupp. I would trade Kupp and try to get someone better, because somebody's going to write that name, but they might not. And Matthew Stafford is the reason why Kupp's a great player, right? But Matthew Stafford elevated him. He was like a peptide. He was a steroid for Cooper Kupp. He made him Cooper Kupp plus, and it was awesome. Now with Matthew Stafford out, we don't know what these quarterbacks are going to do in target. He's scary to me. I don't think you will be able to trade Kupp for equal value, but I would try my damn hardest to do it. I would keep Jefferson, like you said. We said it last week. Nobody was trading Jonathan Taylor at the time where he was about to come back, because you didn't keep him that long to just trade him away.
Right.
Nobody's keeping Justin Jefferson. You're 4-4. I'm sure you're middle of the pack. I'm sure there's 4 teams that are 4-4 that if you win next week, you're getting elevated to the 4th spot. If you lose, you lose. It sucks. So keep Justin Jefferson. Keep that hopes alive. He's going to come back. And look, they just traded for Josh Dobbs. That tells me that, not that Josh Dobbs is a difference maker, but they didn't fold.
Yeah, they feel that their wide receivers are good enough that Josh Dobbs can do well. And Josh Dobbs did well with who on the Cardinals roster again?
Hollywood and Rondell Moore, who are less than Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
So
And
here's what I
TJ
was.
Hawkinson, like he's got guys. That's the thing, is that I think Dobbs might just be better in Minnesota than he was with Arizona.
Yes, I am 1000%. I'm keeping Justin Jefferson. I just am. I'm trying to trade one of those guys.
Go make offers for Cupping and try to take their best player away from them, or get a couple of guys to replace him with. But yeah, I would be leaning towards trading Cup.
I agree with that. So we touched on Khalil Shakir a little bit. Just he's just the guy that you want to try to grab for free. Don't spend any money on him. He's going to demand targets there in that offense. We are going to go straight to the players to watch. There's 3 guys on my list that I want to talk about just a little bit. We are running a little late on time. But the number 1 guy is Bijan Robinson. We need to have a serious discussion on BJ Robinson and Bijan Robinson and find out what's really going on. A lot of you guys spent a first or second round pick on him in Dynasty for sure. He was the 101. He hasn't been utilized the way that we think he should be utilized, but honestly, it's not our decision to make.
We're not the coach.
Well, of course, and I'm all for Arthur Smith not using him. I really am. I will always support the coach's decision on when to win football games and how to win football games. That being said, you spend a lot of draft capital on this guy and you're not using him to the full potential. I don't blame him, though, because the running back positions get hurt a lot. And when you could ride Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson and win games that way, why not do it? He doesn't care about our fantasy teams. But the fact of the matter is, Bijan Robinson's a huge name. And if Dave Campbell, Dirtbag Dave, was on the show right now, he'd be calling us dumb, stupid, idiot. You don't trade away a guy like that. You don't give up on him. I'm not saying doing that. I'm just saying you need to understand that he is not the Adrian Peterson. He's not the Zeke Elliott. He's not the guy we thought he was as far as usage. He's not going to get that. We have the Kyle Pitts effect. Same team, same coach, same organization. We all thought this guy is a wide receiver in your tight end slot. This guy is this guy is that. Then 3 years in right now, we're like, we finally realized he might be that guy. But no matter what, they're never going to use him the way. So we can't value him the same way that we valued him in his rookie year or even a second year. Now, Bijan Robinson might be the same situation. You can't value a guy who has gotten 12 carries in the past 2 weeks the same as you would value an elite superstar. Like, can you value Kenneth Walker higher because he's getting the work, he's getting the yards, he's up there, he's running back like 8 or 9, he's crushing it? But then you look at Bijan Robinson and people go, he should be crushing it. That's why he's more valuable. That's not how life works, buddy. It's just not. The fact is he's not getting the carries. He's not getting the targets. He's not getting the work we thought he was going to get. He had 0 catches last week. 0. And he played
5 targets.
Yeah, he had 5 targets, but 0 catches. That's not good enough.
He's not the guy that he's not week 1 through 4 anymore. Unfortunately, where he was catching every target that he got, basically. He's falling. I don't know what's going on with that offense, but it's not working out the way it needs to be. I don't know if that was because, Ritter had a concussion. They had to bring in a backup. I don't know what's going on there, but this is not us saying cut Bijan Robinson. Let's be clear there. But this is something saying, hey, let's keep watching out what's going on because we need to monitor the situation. This might be a waiver fodder target later on in the season.
I mean, he's top 10 in rushing yards, top 10 in receiving yards for the running back position, top 10 in receptions for the running back position.
Yeah, I mean, he's RB11 still right now because of his first couple of weeks, but
you didn't get the return on your investment. The ROI is not there. And that's what I'm saying is sometimes if you can get a better option, if you can make a trade or someone's buying in, this is for more keeper or dynasty. I'm not getting rid of him. I'm not going to sell him for peanuts. I'm not. It's just the fact is he's not who we wanted. And I'm just wanted to let you guys know, like, hey, you can't sometimes it's okay to go, this player is not who we thought. And we can't act like he's a running back 1 anymore. Although he's still running back 11, but he's trending downwards and he's trending downwards pretty quick. And that's just because of the team and organization, not the player himself. Next guy on my list is a piece of trash, and you could cut him. You could cut him right now. I wouldn't care. Aaron Jones, the Green Bay Packers. I'm not telling you to, but you could. I mean, I wouldn't care. I mean, he's pretty much the same player as Antonio Gibson at this point. There's no difference. And I see Antonio Gibson on the waiver wire everywhere. I mean, where tell me when I'm telling lies, Justin. This guy has scored 8.6, 8.7, 2.4, and 26.7 week 1 against Chicago. So weeks 4, 7, and 8 when he played, he scored like
18 points.
Yeah,
a little
18
over 18, 19 points
I'm
or
trying to
so.
do the math in my head. 18-ish points. His snap shares have been 35%, 36%. He's getting targets. That's cool. But honestly, that offense is trash. That offense can't move the ball. This guy has been a total bust. Probably the biggest bust in all of fantasy.
This one's a hurt one. It's very hurtful.
And I'm okay if you try. I really am. I'm not telling you to, but you're not going to get any trade value for him. He's not worth anything. I'm just saying if there's a better option out there that you may need someone else, I'm not going to tell you to keep him around.
I just remembered I got DeAndre Swift for Aaron Jones earlier in the year.
That's awesome. That's great. I would take anything for Aaron Jones this year.
I just remembered that, and that's such a great move for me.
It is a great move.
Anyways, we're not here dunking on people right now. Sorry, buddy guy. But next one, right?
Yeah, the next one, the last one, and this one is Puka Nacua, my dude. Some guy we all been riding hot all season, but if Matthew Stafford's out, that kind of concerns me. This is one of those things where the talent is there, but also the situation and the quarterback is there as well. It's the opposite of Bijan Robinson. He wasn't supposed to be some highly first round pick. He wasn't supposed to be awesome like he is, but the situation he went to, the quarterback he was gifted, the offense he was gifted, he became awesome. He still got 7 targets against Dallas, and people would need to remember he did play Dallas. This isn't some slouch. This isn't some middle of the road defense. They're a good defense. So him only scoring 7.3 points, kind of expected. 3 catches, 43 yards. I'm just worried about the trend. Week 6 against Arizona, he had 4 catches. Scored 6.6 fantasy points. I believe that's the game Stafford didn't play, correct? Or Stafford got hurt. I believe it was.
I think so in Arizona.
Yeah. Yep. I believe it was. So that's a trend. If it happens again, this guy's. You can't trade him.
Stafford only had 24 attempts in that same week. He did play 100% of the snaps. Stafford did, but it just so happens that when Stafford's not throwing the ball, Puka's not getting it. So
yeah, I just monitor that situation as well. He can't just be a plug-in number 1 anymore if Stafford's not there, in my opinion. Unfortunately for me, because I'm riding him everywhere, which we all were. It's okay. Is there any more trades going on in the NFL before we get out of here?
No, I've been monitoring the situation. Wait, Adam Schefter just tweet. No, this is still about the defensive back. So never mind.
Oh, just about the defensive back. Nobody cares about defensive back. We don't play IDP, but if you do, make sure you follow those guys. I don't know who they are, but follow us on Twitter at Josh Kimmel LUS, at Justin Bauerle as well on Twitter. He has a Marvel podcast, which is great. If we all like Marvel, everyone likes Marvel. I watched a DC movie the other day. What a joke. Anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow night, Wednesday. Have a safe Halloween. Be great. Get some Twizzlers, Snickers. Justin, we're out of here.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Follow on X and Instagram at OUSFFPOD. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.